Welcome back, guys. So far when we give or when we use images, we're using the image tag as we have here, right? Now the image tag is just one way to do images. There's another way to use images, which is to use CSS, right? So CSS has something called a background image property that allows you to use images there rather than in HTML itself. Now, there are some advantages to both. There are some advantages to using an image tag versus some advantages to using a background image. But the general areas where you use a background image is if you want an image that you're not going to, kind of use too often, right? So what we're going to do here is we are actually going to give the entire page that we have here a background image. And the way to do that is to actually go to our CSS and we'll type in body. We're going to give a background image to the entire body. Now, the reason I didn't put a dot here is because this is not a class. It's a reserved HTML tag, which we have used here, right? We've used the body. So we're referencing the body and I'm going to say background image URL. And I'm going to go to Google and find some nice background image. Let's say background image. I'm just going to Google this. I like this. This is interesting. Open image in new tab. It's a very small image, it's going to get stretched, so I'm going to take something bigger. You can actually go here, size and large. We'll just take, we'll take the same image, open image in new tab. Well, that downloaded, I don't want that. Okay, so we have this image in a new tab. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go here and I'm just going to paste it in. That's how you do the background image. Now, if I go to the website and I refresh, as you can see, as expected, we have the background image, but it seems a little bit off. It seems like it's not centered. So the way to center a background image is to just do background dash position and center. Right? So now it's a little bit centered. In fact, the image has gone higher up, and that's how centering happens. Now, as you can see, there's some repetition here, right, at the bottom. We don't want this background to repeat, especially as scrolling happens tomorrow. If we have too much content, we don't want the background to repeat. So what we're going to do is we're going to say background dash repeat, no dash repeat, right? And if you want to know how all the properties that are related to CSS backgrounds, just type CSS background image property, right? And you'll be able to see it here and you'll be able to see all the different things that you're able to do with the background. Now, you can refresh this and you can see it doesn't repeat, but there's a white gap. We want this background to fill this entire page. So we use another property called background dash size and we say cover. All right. Now, if you refresh it, you'll see that the entire background is here, but there's more space, right? So this is tried to keep, so cover, tries to use the entire background, but as long as it doesn't stretch up its dimensions, right? It makes sure that the aspect ratio is maintained. The height to width ratio is maintained. So we're going to use another one called contain, right? And you're going to see that, now it's just the normal background. You can't see it behind and there's a lot of space left because this is the maximum size of the image itself. But what we're going to use here is we're just going to say stretch. And this stretches it out to its maximum. We have many different ways to do background size. We're going to do 100%. That doesn't work. Right, so I've made the background size 200%, which makes the entire background stretch. But obviously, as you can see, there's some stretchy marks on the background. So whenever you tend to use backgrounds, see if you can use a background that's at least as big as most people's browsers or use something that you can repeat. So let's find a small pattern that we can tile as a background. So let's go to Google. Let's type background tile. I'm just going to go to images and I'm going to take this image. It's from somewhere, right? I'm going to copy this. This is stock image. You can see some stock image stuff on it, but I'm going to do this and I'm going to mention in background repeat to repeat and I'm going to get rid of the background size property. So now as you can see, the background is continuously repeating, but I want the background to be smaller. I want each tile to be smaller. So the way to do that is to go here and type background dash size. And I'm going to give it a height and a width, or actually I'll just give it one property. I'll say 30 pixels. And now as you can see, it's become very small and repeating over and over again. I can actually make this 130 pixels so you guys can see. And now as you guys can see, the pattern or the tile that we have is continuously repeating. But if we said no dash repeat and we remove the background position from center, the background would stick to the top left as expected. So this is how you create backgrounds in CSS. They're great if you want repetition. They're great if you want things to stretch or be contained. But they're not very good for being used as things like links, right? You're better off using an image tag there. So that's it for this episode. Catch you on the next.